Hello and welcome back to another video. My name is Josh. So today I wanted to talk about different safe and risky investments that you have available to you. So in case you're wondering if you wanted to start investing but didn't really know where to start, so I kind of created this list as a general idea of different places you can start investing your money into. Just kind of broke down a list, safe to risky. I did kind of order these as best as possible for the safest to the most risky. So that's pretty cool. Now to get started here, safe. Technically, the safest investment you can is available to you is through a savings account. Most people don't see that as an investment. That's why I didn't really put it on here. But technically, that is the safest investment because you can take your money in and out whenever you want, and it technically does gain you a sort of interest rate, typically below 1%. So it's super low, but technically it is a type of investment. So to start out, number one, certificates of deposit. So these certificates you can purchase from most banks, and basically how you purchase that, they typically start around $1,000. Some banks have lower, some banks have higher. They're kind of the minimum requirements. So you purchase those. They have a certain maturity date, so you do have to hold the certificate till that date to be able to kind of take it out, take out your original investment, and then you get a guaranteed amount of interest rate of return on that. So they're pretty low, but they're considered very safe. You just have to watch out because if you take out the money you put into the certificate before the maturity date, you can actually lose money. So you just have to make sure put away, and you won't see it until that maturity date, and that can be whenever you kind of set it to. Number two, bonds and other government issued securities. So bonds are super popular because of how they work. They are basically guaranteed. They work the same way as certificates of deposits. Bonds, you purchase them. There's different savings bonds, treasury bonds with the government. Savings bonds you can purchase as low as like $25. Treasury bonds around $100 to start out. Then they have a guaranteed interest rate of return as well. Typically pretty low, but it depends on what kind of bonds you purchase and stuff. They can get 1, 2, 3, 4%, something like that. Well, that's 4 is pretty high. But so those are very, very safe. A lot of the big name investors out there, they have a mix of risky type of investments and then a lot of bonds for the safe type of investments that they have. Very popular. Number three, money market funds. So these are considered safe as well. They're basically you do have a money market fund manager. So it's technically an active type of investment where someone actually manages it for you. So there is a fee for that, and you can actually start out. They're more short-term investments that you can take part in, and there's a fee to that. So that fee takes out of that return that you would get. So still pretty low on that, but they are pretty safe for the money market funds. Number four, tax liens and deeds. These are actually really cool how they work. So on every property that has a loan on it and a mortgage, there is a tax lien and deed on it, depending on which state you're in for the lien or the deed. Now what happens is if the property owner does not actually pay their monthly mortgage or a couple months, something like that, if they have an agreement with the bank, there's always a tax lien on that. So if you purchase the lien or deed, that per the law, that lien or deed is actually above what the bank has ownership of. So technically you have ownership of the property basically. Now, so the lien or deed, if you purchase that, it can take up to a couple years technically to get that. So you purchase the deed or lien, and then if the property owner does not pay their thing for a couple months or whatever, and then they pay it back, you would get your original lien or deed investment plus the interest on there, and that interest can really range from anywhere from like 15% to 25%. So it's actually a really good investment. About 10% of the time, best case scenario is the property owner does not pay that back, and you would actually have ownership of that property because again, you rank above the bank on there. So that does happen from time to time. It's pretty cool. Number five, index funds. These are one of my favorites. I actually did a video on one of the index funds you can invest to, at the S&P 500. I recommend that video to check out if you're interested in that. It's really cool. So index funds, they're basically a miniature copy of some different markets that we have. So there's the NASDAQ, there's the S&P 500, there's the Dow Jones, and there's different index funds of like energy ones, healthcare, technology funds, something like that. They're basically miniature copies of different markets that you can invest into, and you can start investing from really any amount. And then again, it's just a miniature copy. It's kind of as the business as a whole that you invest into, and they're really cool. So going on to the more risky side of things, number 6, mutual funds. So mutual funds, they typically they're more like a diverse portfolio. So what that means is you have different types. They usually have stocks in them. So you can have healthcare stocks, energy stocks, technology stocks, have a different range of kind of investments to keep that more kind of safe, I guess, instead of just investing into one stock where that can go up and down. You can actually lose your whole investment. So the mutual funds are more safe. There are both actively managed ones where you actually pay someone to manage that account for you, or there's passive ones where you kind of let it do its thing or you own it yourself. Number 7, real estate property. So, this is kind of, I'm sure you know this already, buy and hold properties, rent them out, stuff like that. Property can be a great investment. Typically, you have to have some money to get started. Property, they're not liquid assets where you can turn them into money really fast. So that's why they're not really super safe, but they can be a great investment. Number 8, stocks. These are obviously getting up in the more risky because the stock price with different shares, they can go up or down in a day. They can drop. They can be totally dead in a day, something like that if the company just happens to go down. But stocks are pretty risky. And then options. So options are part of the stocks. It's basically where you predict what you want to happen. So there's a possibility to short a stock, or if you buy an option saying this stock is going to be at a certain share price at this amount of time. Say in 2019, this company will have a stock share price of $19 a share. So if that 19 hits or above, or below, whichever option you pick, you would basically get that option. So that's your original investment plus almost double your money, which is awesome because you called it. If you fail, you can end up losing all your money. So that's very, very risky. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you learned something. Again, this is kind of just a general idea, some different ideas you have to invest into. Feel free to leave comments down below in case there was other ones that I should have included on the list, or if you have any questions or anything, I'd be happy to help you guys out. And consider subscribing to the channel. I kind of put up different videos about personal finance, stock market, ways to succeed in your life, basically through finances. So I'd really appreciate that. And again, thanks for watching.